Hi, welcome to 9.9 Comics with Chris and Kyle.
I'm Kyle.
And I'm back. Chris.
Big chow! Big chow! Big chow!
And today we'll be talking about comics getting released on January 9th, 2019.
Correcto. And I will be starting off today with publisher Amigo Comics in the release of Blackening #1 of 6. This is written by Massimo Rossi and art and cover art by Eduardo Mayo. Mayo, as in M-E-L-L-O, not mayo as in the food. After the plague, humanity was forced to regenerate itself, replacing the bodies with sophisticated machines. The new technology that saved humans from extinction seems to have nothing against their innate cruelty. Tony is one of the left humans that still enjoy feeling the simple pleasures of life. But everything goes to hell when his companion dies and his daughter is abducted. By whom? Why? Well, I guess we'll find out soon, but this actually looks pretty cool.
The cover seems kind of telling.
Yeah. It looks like a combination of I, Robot and I Am Legend. Both Will Smith movies. Moving on, out of Dark Horse Comics, here's a pretty cool one, Tom Clancy's Division Extremis Malice, wherever you pronounce that in Latin. So it's a book about the ever popular Tom Clancy Division game. Speaking of, I believe the second one is coming out here soon.
I believe so.
But there's really not going to go too much on that. That's why it's because it's for the game. And then out of Scout Comics, we have a really important one, guys. This got edged out for the 9.9 no-brainer. Ncbd Bunny Ever After #1, and the whole reason for this is the creator is sick. He's in the hospital right now, and they basically pulled all Ncbd Bunny from the shelves. So if you can find Ncbd Bunny, good for you right now. But they're not making any more. But this was written before he got sick, and it's kind of like a what if that's not going to mess with the continuity that is being released. And I would recommend getting it just for the fact that he's not doing well, and it's a popular series, so it's hard not to look at it. And then out of Image Comics, Gunning for Hits #1. This is written by Jeff Rove, and art and cover art by Moritat, just Moritat. Series premiere, set in the shady New York City music scene of the mid-'80s, Gunning for Hits stars Martin Mills, a record company talent scout with an inscrutable past. Follow Martin as he attempts to sign a rock band that'll conquer the world in his music business crime thriller written by music producer Jeff Rove, from David Bowie and Big Star, with art by Moritat from The Spirit and Harley Quinn and Hellblazer. Plus, each issue will include a background feature and a Spotify playlist. Whoa, I didn't know that.
Did Jeff Rove write David Bowie and Big Star, or produce for David Bowie and Big Star?
No, I think those are comics.
By music producer.
Oh, yeah, I guess he did. So, yeah, those are two things that came out of nowhere for me. So, yeah, this is written by the dude who produced for David Bowie.
Or wrote the comic book for David Bowie. We're not sure.
I think let's go with produced.
It makes more sense.
So yeah, and it's an Image Comics #1, so you don't want to miss that out. And it comes with a Spotify playlist. That's pretty cool. And then the next one out of Image Comics, Criminal #1, written by Ed Brubaker and art and cover art by Sean Phillips. And this one is a Diamond Gem of the Month, guys. Series premiere, the return of the most acclaimed crime comic of the 21st century. Hot off their best-selling series, Kill or Be Killed, and their original graphic novel, My Heroes Have Always Been Junkies. Crime comic masters Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips finally returned to the most demanded title as a new monthly series. In this double-sized, at no additional cost debut issue, Teague Lawless is back in town, but he finds himself in more trouble than ever thanks to his delinquent teenage son, and this time, fists and bullets may not be enough to solve his problems. So, and like I said, this is a Diamond Gem of the Month, and it's Image Comics #1. So those are all reasons why we want to pick it up. And then, coming out of Dynamite, we have one I'm pretty interested in. Yeah. Turok #1. They're rebooting Turok, written by Ron Mars, art by Roberto Castro, and cover art by Bart Sears. A new hero rises. Turok pursues his kidnapped brother. In the Badlands of the Old West, in the waning days of the Indian Wars, the U.S. cavalry has captured Andar, but Turok will stop at nothing to rescue him. But that quest will lead Turok, Andar, and even the soldiers to a strange lost land inhabited by creatures beyond their imaginations. This is Turok as you've never seen him before, and Turok as you've always seen him. Written by the acclaimed storyteller Ron Mars from the Green Lantern, Silver Surfer, and Witchblade, with exquisite art by Roberto Castro from Red Sonja and Flash Gordon.
And the cover art being Bart Sears is for this issue is pretty cool.
Right.
Bart Sears is a famous comic book artist, especially from Bronze Age 80s comics.
Right. And then moving on out of Source Point Press, we have Savants, number 1 of 5. This is a short run, written by Gary Reed and art from Seth Damoose. This Savants miniseries is the last thing that Gary Reed, the founder of Caliber Comics and the godfather of indie comics, wrote before his sudden death in 2016. Teenager Amy Berg is taken from her guardian and forced by the government to attend the Center for Intuitive Studies for her education. A rebellious outcast, she knows that life is going to get worse than she could ever imagine. Amy, like the others there, seems to have special abilities, and the CIS wants to train the students in order to help society. Well, at least that's what the brochures say.
The CIS?
What?
The CIS. CIS.
Get out of here. Why? Anyway.
Moving on from there, we're going to jump into DC Comics with Batman number 62. Specifically because of this cover price Frank Miller cover that is back order, not stocked already from Diamond. So basically, if you can't come in and get one, you're not going to. So make sure to pick this up. It's a cover priced Frank Miller comic, Batman cover. How are you gonna ignore it?
Right.
From there, we also have out of DC Comics, Green Arrow number 48, specifically and only at this point in time for the Neil Adams cover art. It's a black and white sketch cover by Neil Adams. I mean, obviously it's not a sketch, it's mass produced. But,
right.
But this is big deal with Neil Adams coming to the Orlando Toy and Comic Con, so you can get it signed, as well as it's a phenomenal cover, and Neil Adams is a phenomenal artist, so it's a good pickup right now. From there, we have new DC number 1, Young Justice number 1, written by Brian Michael Bendis, and art and cover art by Patrick Gleason. This is pretty cool for me because I love Young Justice, but this issue specifically is a big deal for its variant cover. Introduction to 2 new teen heroes, being the Teen Lantern and Ginny Hex. And it's a restart, or reboot, so to speak, of the Young Justice comic book line, which I think is trying to build up interest in preparation for the DC streaming service restart of the Young Justice Season 3. Moving on from there, we have, out of DC Comics, Martian Manhunter number 2, specifically for the Middleton cover variant, so a Art Germ Martian Manhunter variant. It looks phenomenal. This is what DC's been striving at, is their big names, valuable cover price covers. Like, you buy the cover at cover price and you turn around and the next day it's $15 on eBay. It could be $15 before you pick it up at cover price at the comic book store, and you don't know until you look it up and get it. Moving on from there, we have out of Marvel Comics, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 1, written by Tom Taylor, art by Juan Cabal, Marcello Ferreira, and cover art by Andrew Robinson. So this is new Spider-Man number 1. Coming out of Marvel, Spider-Man is the worst neighbor ever. There are always crazy villains and property damage and drama, and he catches the villains. And he tries to fix the damage, and he helps carry your groceries, and actually that property damage keeps the rents down. You know what? Spider-Man is the best neighbor ever, and this book will let you get a closer look at Spider-Man's and Peter Parker's neighborhood than any book ever. Also, it wouldn't be a Spider-Man adventure without a threat that could destroy not only Spider-Man but all his neighbors. Superstar writer Tom Taylor from X-Men Red and All New Wolverine and Injustice, and rising art star Juan Cabal from All New Wolverine and X-23 give you the most local Spider-Man ever. So that's pretty interesting. I like their take on it with getting more in depth to his neighborhood and stuff.
Yeah.
And his interactions with his neighbors, so to speak. Moving on from there, also out of Marvel Comics, we have the new Captain Marvel #1 book, written by Kelly Thompson, art by Carmen Nunez Carnero, and cover art by Amanda Connor and Paul Mounts. So this is a pretty exciting book because it is a return to Captain Marvel. Obviously, the Life of Captain Marvel, like, prequel story, so to speak, backstory that just ran, it just ended, so it's not too much of a break between Captain Marvel books. But all the stars align as Kelly Thompson and Carmen Carnero take on Marvel's premier female superhero. As Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers has spent months in space protecting Earth from alien threats big and small, but now it's time for Earth's mightiest hero to come home. New York City has never looked so good, but every re-entry comes with the unexpected, and Carol is about to hit a whole lot of unexpected. It's a fresh start and an oversized, star-studded welcome home for a hero who's been punching the glass ceiling since the 1970s, and just in time for the first female-led film from Marvel Studios. The next 50 years of Captain Marvel starts here. So this is especially a big deal with the Captain Marvel movie coming out soon, as it mentioned in the synopsis. And definitely going to want to try and pick at least the #1 up and see where it goes. Yeah.
And so the time comes for the 9.9 no-brainer!
Just me. Chris. He did it last week, because I wasn't here. The 9.9 no-brainer this week is a Web of Venom Unleashed #1 by Marvel Comics. This is a Venom run tie-in. It's another Web of Venom comic, as it says in the title, Web of Venom Unleashed. It's written by Ryan Stegman, with art by Kyle Hotz and Juan Gedeon, and cover art by Ryan Stegman. So this is a book written by Ryan Stegman with cover art by Ryan Stegman. Ryan Stegman's also going to be at the Orlando Toy and Comic-Con this month, at the end of the month. So great book to get signed, because you'll get, with one signature, the cover art and the writer. From the illustrator of the blockbuster series of the summer comes the next epic installment in the Web of Venom, a journey from the symbiote's perspective through Eddie's old haunts in San Francisco. It might not like what it finds.
And I believe this is a tie-in to Donny Cates' Venom.
It is, yes. All the Web of Venom comics have been so far. Sort of like fleshing out Donny Cates' Venom world.
Right.
So it's a good book to have. Definitely a good book to get before the con. Cover art looks phenomenal, and
right.
I'm excited for it.
And moving on to the last part of the program, the honorable mentions, starting off with Zenescope Entertainment and their release of Conspiracy 2. And then out of Image Comics, we have Die #2, Freeze #2, #4, Outer Darkness #3, Prodigy #2,
I am biased, stop that. I couldn't,
Self-Made #2, Cemetery Beach, Cemetery, I sound like I'm English now, Cemetery Beach #5, Oblivion Song #11, I almost said
#11.
Yeah, I can't speak. Bitterroot #3. And then out of Marvel Comics, we have Man Without Fear #1 and Man Without Fear #2. And now that sounds weird, and that's because Florida did not get their shipment of Man Without Fear #1. We just didn't get it. So they're releasing it with the second one that's coming out.
At the same time.
And then, yeah, at the same time. And then we have Star Wars AOR Jango Fett #1, Miles Morales Spider-Man #2, Marvel Presents #3, GOTG Fact
Guardians
Smile.
of the Galaxy Facsimile Edition.
Yeah. And Titan Comics Life is Strange #2.
Well, by the way.
I'm not good with acronyms.
And the word facsimile.
Yeah. That's the first time I've ever seen that word. I was like, face a smile. I will leave here not knowing what that means. And that pretty much is it for this week, guys. Remember to make sure you get that 9.9 no-brainer, and thank you for liking and subscribing, and make sure you comment, share, all that stuff. And thank you.
I hope you all had a good New Year.
Yes.
Hope everyone was safe.
Yes.
And didn't disrupt your schedules too much. We're sorry we took some time off with the holidays.
Yeah. And there was a weird scheduling with the last one, so ended up with Chris not being able to make it. But we're all good now. Back to the normal schedule. Back on track. And we're gonna draw a lot of new stuff this year. We're gonna try to make some improvements, make it more interesting. We still need to shorten that dang intro. I know I hate it as much as you guys, but I mean,
he has to watch it a lot more than us.
Yeah.
Cause
oh God. But yeah. Anyway, thanks guys. See you later.
See you next time. But this is big deal.